Hi. Let's consider the structure of human society in full. Completely, this means from the level of the homeless and prisoners to the presidents of countries and those who may be above them. If you remove the pink glasses and discard all the beautiful thoughts and words about God, democracy, the law, and other higher symbols, then the relationship between all levels of the human hierarchy is based on two simple things. These are resources and responsibilities. From the highest levels down comes the delegation of access to resources. For example, when the king shares with his retinue part of the land, peasants, or the treasury. In turn, the delegation of responsibility goes up. For example, when the courtiers themselves are not responsible for peace and economy in the kingdom, and for them the king and the ministers subordinate to it all rule it. This was an example from the past. You can take an example from the present. For example, a corporation. The management of the corporation shares with its employees part of the profit. That is, resources. This is the flow down. The higher the level of the employee in the hierarchy, the closer he is to the owner of the resources and to the corporate feeder. And, accordingly, the more he receives these resources. At each level, each employee has a specific level of responsibility. And upon reaching their level of authority, each employee transfers even greater responsibility to his superior. This is the flow up. Again, the higher the level of the employee in the hierarchy, the more responsibility he is authorized to accept. What are resources? Resources are a value embodied in a particular material or intangible entity. Earth, money, food, knowledge, technology, time. All this and much more is the same spoon of honey around which our human world revolves like a swarm of wasps. With noise, rattling wings, and periodically stinging someone. It is around this that multilevel human hierarchies grow. Communities, cities, states, countries, unions of states and so on are formed. Some hierarchies protect the values that they have from other hierarchies. They even often fight because of this. At the same time, within the hierarchy itself, there is also an equally tough struggle, caused by the fact that higher levels try to protect their resources from those people who are at a lower level. Usually they try to do this in the most peaceful way possible. This is the main activity that humanity will never cease to engage in. Of course, in addition to food and sex. Although, all this is interconnected. So how to increase the level in the hierarchy? The path is extremely difficult. For example, quickly turning from a homeless person into a member of the board of directors of even a small company is extremely difficult. How to be? Is there really no clue to this puzzle? At first glance, the way it is. After all, miracles do not happen. It is only in fairy tales that it is easy to turn into Cinderella and get the husband of a prince in a few minutes. But what if you look at it from the other side? How can knowledge of value and responsibility flows be used differently? Now I will try to convey this to you. You already know that the higher the hierarchy of a person, the more he has the opportunity to access the resources of our society. Resources are inherently what people need to meet their needs. In other words, to solve a problem. But people's problems can be solved without occupying a high position. It is enough that you are able to solve the problem of a large number of people. This way you will be able to take responsibility for solving the problems of a large number of people. This is the same responsibility as in the magical hierarchy, which I examined a little earlier. The magic is that when you achieve this, you will automatically have the resources of those people whose problems you have solved. In my opinion, this is the most important understanding in life. Resources are always generated by responsibility, or vice versa, To possess resources, responsibility is required. There are many examples of this law in life. Start giving people jobs and paying them money. People will give you their time and their strength. And with their help, you can turn everything into reality. Start giving people food and they will give you their attention and money. Combine these two methods into one whole and you will get what is called a business, which is nothing more than an organized process to meet the needs and problems of people. There are no other guaranteed opportunities to become successful in life. Do not even try to find. I emphasize the word guaranteed. There are many pseudo-opportunities based on various kinds of speculation, or the so-called luck. Lottery, casino, quick money on the exchange and the like. But ask yourself. You know many people who, until the end of their days, earn their living in this way. You yourself know that there are only a few such people. And they all have the technology or knowledge of how to make money there. But earnings technology is again a resource. And you do not have it. You are just a passing amateur. In the next issue, I will talk about how to turn what you just learned into wealth. See you.